Witam w 5. odcinku z Kingdom Come Deliverance. Lecimy dalej. Żyjemy. Jakieś tu efekty na sobie mamy. Retoryka 3. Właśnie dostałem ostatnio kilka leveli się wbiło. Mogę tutaj sobie wbijać. Siły to chyba za mało, żeby coś wartościowego wziąć. O, ale retoryka. Jest coś w retoryce, dobra. Ostateczna oferta. Kiedy kupiec straci cierpliwość, trzymasz jeszcze jedną szansę. Wysoko urodzony. Rozmawiasz ze szlachtą, a rozbogaczami. Lub rozmawiasz z pospólstwem. Okej, wolę wysoko urodzony mieć. Dobra. Pierwszą pomoc odblokowałem. To z automatu mi się odblokowała. Sztuka walki, jeszcze nic nie mogę tu dać. Walka wręcz, nic nie mogę ulepszyć, okej. Jazda konna, no to za mało. Wzmocnienie, osłabienie, głód, wyczerpanie. Czyli muszę coś zjeść. Ale dałoby przynajmniej coś zjeść. Czy jest tu coś do jedzenia? Coś do wypicia, coś tego typu? Pan dziwisz.
What do you want? You've no business here.
Dobra, tam. Wieśniaczka, weź mnie wypuść. Mapa. Okej, jesteśmy tutaj. Tu zaczynaliśmy. Tu jakieś pytajniczki. Mamy misję, porozmawiaj z tym. To jest misja B. Misja A. Dziennik. Okej, czyli nie mam innej misji, okej. Porozmawiajmy w takim razie.
You've done well, lad. I'm sorry for your loss. You must be all done in. Why don't you go to the kitchen and have a good meal? Sorrow is easier to bear on a full stomach. I heard about your father. They say he was a swordsmith who moved to the countryside to make horseshoes. I can't understand why he'd waste his talents, but I'm sure he had his reasons. He had a fine reputation.
Jemy. Misja żarcie.
You're fortunate our good lady Stephanie of Talmberk has graced us with her presence.
My lady, I'm honored.
So this is our brave young man. Welcome, lad. Bozhena here will take care of you. No doubt you're tired and hungry.
Bożenka.
Indeed. How could he not be, poor soul? After everything he's been through, he must be as hungry as a bear, aren't you, young master? Here you are, then. Eat your fill.
And a little wine to wash it down.
Thank you, my lady.
When you're done, you can go and rest with the grooms in the Outer Bailey.
No, that won't do, Sir Robard. After all he's been through, he deserves a proper bed. Let him sleep in a lodge in the courtyard.
Certainly, my lady. Young Henry here is overwhelmed by your generosity.
Yes, thank you, my lady. May God reward you for your kindness.
Eat up now. You're in capable hands, so I'll leave you to it. Good night.
Good night.
Night, man.
When you've done, you can sleep in the bedchamber of the courtyard lodge. And don't forget to take off those filthy boots before getting into bed.
Co ty kurwa nie powiesz? O, taki cel, jedz. Super cel. Lubię taki. Jeść. Pieczona kaczka. Nie no, jedzonko. Wino. Jabłuszka. Ile pięknych rzeczy. Przeżarcie. Aż się przeżarłem. Obżarstwo przerwy się teraz nie zgłodniejesz tak szybko, ale będziesz niezdarny.
Oh, good God. I need to lie down before I split my face open from yawning.
Co tutaj się wchodzi? Od biegania to powinienem się stawiać bardziej pobudzony, a nie bardziej zmęczony. No ale to w końcu tylko gra komputerowa. Wow. O, tu jest łóżeczko. Dobra, miałem zdjąć buty. Zdjąłem buty. Usiądź. Śpi. A dobra, WS. Niech będzie. 12 godzin wstanę o 7. Rozpocznijmy.
Today the patrols will be doubled. Keep your eyes peeled. If you see anything out of the ordinary, report it immediately. Understood? Yes, sir.
Yes?
It is I, Henry. Forgive the intrusion. I didn't wake you, boy, did I?
My lady, no, not at all. But what brings you here at this hour?
I thought you could do with a little wine.
Co ona chce mnie, kurwa,
Just what you need
pod ten?
to sleep.
Poderwać?
Lady, thank you. You really shouldn't. You could have sent a servant.
I was going to. But to tell you the truth, I couldn't sleep either. I thought of you while saying my prayers. How awful it must have been for you. I came to offer you solace, to let you know you're not alone.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
You're welcome. Now, Henry, I know this is all very new and strange for you. But I want you to feel at home here. You're not to worry about anything except getting better. God knows you've been through a terrible ordeal. I know what it is to be left alone in the world, although your loss is much greater. But with God's help, the pain will ease in time. And it can help to talk about it, if you feel like it.
tell you what happened. It was terrible and unexpected. The day started just like any other. Father sent me into town on some errands. I went to the tavern to buy ale for Father. I know it's a job for a groom, but I didn't mind, because my girl Bianca worked there. I courted her a while and we agreed to meet in the evening, but our meeting was never to happen.
Oh, dear boy.
When I'd done all the errands, I headed back home. I promised Father I'd help him with his work, and I was looking forward to it. He was forging a sword for Sir Radzik. Father and I always chat in the forge. On that particular day, I asked him if he'd teach me swordsmanship. He said no. He said it's better for a man to keep his head on his shoulders than lose it over some pointless heroism. If only you'd known what fate had in store for us.
Oh.
But Sigismund's horde was already on the horizon, ready to attack the town. I saw smoke on the horizon from a village Sigismund pillaged on the way to our town, which was soon to meet the same fate.
God have mercy.
And then death descended on Skalitz. I saw Deutsch trying to defend himself. The man who'd mocked King Wenceslas as a drunkard and praised Sigismund now stood facing his soldiers with nothing but a pitchfork, trying to protect his wife and son. It was hopeless. He slaughtered them all.
That's so sad.
I ran to the castle like our neighbours to take cover, but I didn't make it. I had to find another way to save myself. The men on the battlements called down to me to flee to Talmberk and warn you. I was lucky I knew a concealed path around the castle. I no longer heard any sounds of battle coming from the castle, so Sigismund's army must have regrouped and started preparing for siege.
No doubt you're right.
Then I heard a scream. It was Teresa, the mill wench. She'd been caught by a gang of Cuman savages who planned to violate her. I had Sir Radzik's sword, and even though there were several of them and they were better armed, I had to try and save her. I wanted there to be at least one person I'd helped. And I succeeded, even though it almost cost me my life. After that, I stole a horse from them and rode off.
Like a valiant knight.
I'll never forget the horror. It will haunt me for the rest of my life.
That's terrible. How could something like that happen?
God alone knows why he lets such things happen.
Oh, you poor boy. I understand your grief, but God is not to blame for the ills of this world. That is the work of Satan and those who do his bidding. Those who are corrupted by greed, envy, and pride. You must not lose faith, whatever life brings. Fate has not been merciful to me, and my husband either. Although in comparison to the horrors you went through. I was young when I married my husband. It was my father's wish. Divish was a lot older than I, but a woman must bear her lot. Shortly after our marriage, before I even got a look at Talmberk, the castle was stormed and my husband was imprisoned.
Really?
My husband had some quarrel with Sir Havel Medek of Valdek, who decided to resolve it by force. He stormed the castle, burned down the village of Pribyslavitz, and killed many of our men, even the old chamberlain. He imprisoned my husband in the castle and put his own garrison there.
That's awful.
I was barely 18 years old, and all of a sudden, I was left alone with Sir Robert. We didn't know what to do. We went to Prague to appeal to the king and sought help from Divish's friends, but all to no avail. We tried for years, but it seemed I was destined to be left alone and my husband to rot in jail in his own castle.
Years, you say?
7 years. That's how long it took before Havel was condemned as an enemy of the crown. And even then, he refused to surrender the castle and release my husband. In the end, I raised the money to pay a ransom, and only then, by the grace of Lord Jesus, did I finally lay eyes on my husband once more.
7 years. And was Havel punished for it?
Never. And after 7 years, my husband returned to me an infirm old man.
Sir Divish seems like a good, strong man.
Certainly, only he has many concerns. He had to rebuild Talmberk. After he was released, the king appointed him Burgrave of Prague Castle, and he was very busy. He had no time for me at all. But at least we were in the city, and there was something going on. And now, we're here.
My lady, you're still young and beautiful. Your best years are still ahead of you.
Would that that were true, lad. Would it were true. But what am I doing bothering you with this? You have troubles enough of your own. I'll go and let you sleep. I enjoyed our little talk, Henry. Good night, and God bless.
Ja też mogłem sobie nabić expa. Bardzo fajna rozmowa. PTSD.
Move in, people! Come on, running out of time! Quickly! We have to close the gates!
Dosłownie PTSD.
Can't go back!
Help us, son. Don't be a coward. Henry, wake up. You don't want to miss this.
What is it? What's happening?
Come to the battlements. One of our patrols reported a company heading here from Skalitz.
Okej, idziemy. O, jeszcze mam na jedzenie. Gdzie mam iść? Okej. Dobrze, ale poprzedni odcinek był dłuższy, więc ten zrobimy krótszy. Do Blanki. To Blanka nawet mi co spoilerowało. Pójdziemy w kolejnym odcinku, to tyle. Widzimy się w kolejnym. Na razie.